And we're live. Welcome to Getting Unstuck. Hey, it's Getting Unstuck. I labeled it Getting Unstuck. That's a good word. That's good. Because that's what we do. And we have our little diagram. I guess the fish getting hooked represents stuck. But we went to an old hook diagram.
Yes.
For this how to get Congress unstuck crowdcast, which seemed like an appropriate thing to be talking about. But not the usual complaining, I hope.
Right.
Because it's easy to complain about Congress.
Just about anything.
That's
Congress.
That's nothing new. This would be things to do if Andrews is here. This would be things to do.
Hey, Andrews.
I was talking to my wife. This is what would happen if you just happen to get a slim majority of adults in Congress. That
Emphasis
would say,
on the word adults, folks.
What's that?
Emphasis on the word adult.
Yeah, adults, really. That, we need to rearrange things here to protect us from our childhood tendencies.
Right. our ever-present childhood tendencies.
Well, that's the thing. And that's where I'm not picking on Congress.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I have childhood things.
Oh, my gosh.
Phil has childhood
Absolutely.
things. And that's what these hooks represent, folks, is that when we learn language, most of us are pretty young, Well, and we are full of lots of emotions and not very much language, right?
Fair enough.
Then, as we learn the language, of course, those intense emotions of childhood get attached to the language. Now, the way they talk about it in our neck of the woods, Phil and I's neck of the woods, is relational frame theory. So it means that you learn a word and emotions get related to that word. And so much of our language, unbeknownst to our adult minds, okay, we're cooking along thinking, oh, we're being adults.
Absolutely.
And then somebody will say a word, and suddenly this emotion shows up. And we're now operating on this very childhood-based emotion.
Yes.
That is now influencing our behaviors a great deal. Okay. This is everybody. Okay. So another thing we had going was how to childproof Congress. Yes. This is sort of like this is sort of like childproof all of us.
Yeah, exactly. We can all use a little childproofing.
We can all use some childproofing, right? But Congress, I mean, they got a lot of heavy stuff they need to be doing, and for the most part, they're not. Okay, and so and Phil knows this. I've looked at it for a long time. I was like, well, if you look at Congress from the 30,000-foot view, it looks like a bunch of what? 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th graders.
Yeah, it looks like a middle school.
It looks like a middle school, And they're putting on suits
and right?
Yeah, they're putting on suits and dresses and trying to act adult. So like you guys are failing miserably. You look like middle school. And as much as we laugh about this, our only hope is that at some point in the future, you have this, and I admit it will only be a slim majority of adults
Teeny tiny.
who take over and say, we got to restructure this to, 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 to guard against, put the playpen around
Yeah.
our childhood emotions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, okay, so here's one example. These little things called government shutdowns, which I did a Wikipedia, found that before the 1980s and a ruling by like a attorney general or something, they didn't have them. And then they said you had to, if the government ran out of funding, you had to shut it down. And at first they sort of ignored it. But then, as kids will do, they discovered, oh, wow, this is a great bludgeon to whack somebody over the head with.
Absolutely.
So now we've had
What
11.
I use this for, right?
All right. Yeah. Now we've had 11. And we're in the midst of one right now as I speak. And it's like, somebody, and I'm sure I am one of about 100 or 200 million other people who have said, I don't think shutting down the government is a very good way of running the government. Seems to be not well. And you say, well, what's going on? It's a tit for tat. I win, you lose fight. Okay.
Yep.
So and if you look at it from that middle school point of view, that's exactly what's going on. Somebody's got to win and somebody's got to lose. Well, the thing is supposed to be built on compromise. That's the great thing of the American psyche back in the day, was we would compromise. Well, now it's not happening, and the middle schoolers aren't. And I guess they'll finally do something and get the government open. God, I hope so. But they'll get it open, and then they'll immediately start saying, we won, our side won and the other side lost. That's what you'll hear. And so,
yeah.
So you say, well, what do we do? Okay, so there's a lot of things, but first of all, I think if somebody would please go down to Congress and explain to them about human language, and that as they talk to each other, they're triggering very childhood emotions. Then they start doing. Has anybody who's ever been in a couple, or around another couple, the same thing happens with couples. Yeah. You ever notice this, Phil?
Oh, right. Oh, I mean, like finger pointing.
Yeah, so, and of course
cooperate and.
And I always when I see that happening,
a couple's filibuster too,
Oh yeah. When I see that happening, there's an old saying, and that's a very wise one. It said, you can either be right or you can be married.
Yeah.
But sometimes those two things are mutually exclusive.
You may have to choose.
So there are times when you need to shut up about being right and just compromise. and Congress is not doing that. So you'd have to put in the structural things to do it. There I go back to my slim majority of adults who would actually put in the structural changes so it would happen. So how do you get them working together? Shared purposes. Science tells us this is, and I know many members of Congress just hate science. They love their cell phones and color TVs, but they don't like science.
They don't want to know where they came from.
They like the products of science, but they don't want to pay attention. But
they're consumers of science.
They're consumers of science, right? I don't believe in gravity, but I use it.
Yeah. Comes in handy now.
Comes in handy. But anyway, back to it. The number one thing tells us that you got to get folks lined up on shared purpose. And I'll bring your attention to, and if anybody wants to look it up, you can find it. It's right on the net. It's called the Robbers Cave Experiment.
Oh, yes.
Not the experiment, but whatever it was. Back in the days when social psychologists could do anything.
Yeah, right.
There's no way that thing would be allowed.
Ethics didn't usually enter into the picture.
Yeah, no, there were no ethics or anything. But they learned some interesting things. And this Robbers Cave one was they had two groups of boys that probably were middle school age, right? That they had an easy time of having them go to war with one another, really hating each other. And so then the story of I remember it is the counselor said, well, we got to fix this up before we send them home. And so they came up with the broken down bus scenario. So you had all the warring factions on the bus, and the bus breaks down. And this is way back in the day, 60s or whatever. So AAA wasn't around really easy, right? And so it's like, okay, boys, we got to get together and solve this problem. And lo and behold, they did. So that's what I mean. You have warring factions. You come together. They have a shared purpose. They now work together to accomplish the shared purpose. You need not be getting along to come together to accomplish a shared purpose, is the point of this. Robbers Cave is just one you can look up and fun. It's fun to look at, but this is everywhere, right? Well, Congress then obviously nobody's starting them off on shared purpose.
No.
It's quite obvious, like the Democrats get together and they say, well, we have our shared purpose.
Right.
The Republicans get together and they say, well, we have our shared purpose. And then those two, then they fight it out.
Never the two shall meet.
Yeah, on whose shared purpose is going to win. Yeah. Well, that's back to the marriage scenario. That's going to result in a divorce.
It's not going to work in the relationship, yes.
Yeah, it's not going to work out. Well, look at what the Congress is now. The Congress of the United States, it's a mess because of that. They're not coming together on shared purpose, which in my opinion is like run the government.
Legislate would be the word that shows up.
Legislate so that the government
that does the legislation stuff. Am I right? The last time I checked.
Right, but we don't have that. We have win-lose.
Yeah,
we're going to win if you're going to lose, or it's win-lose. It's all win-lose. Now, I'll get a little bit historical on you. Our forefathers said the two-party system was a bad idea. And in particular, good old President Madison back in the day railed against the two-party system. They say, well, why didn't he like it? Well, look at 2025. And
he had a crystal ball, I think, right?
He might not have said it explicitly, but this is why he didn't like it, right? Mm-hmm. The two-party system automatically structurally leads to win-lose arguments.
Yeah.
So there's been different proposals to bust them in like up to 6 different parties. Because I think if you look at the parties, there's actually 3 and 3, moderates and all that. So you could have six
a healthy mix.
A healthy mix. Well, now you got to debate. Now you form coalitions. You got to, and other countries do this. This is not a new thing. But here as I go, I know they're going, well, how do you do that, Kevin? I'm sorry, I know it. You got to get enough adults in the room.
There we go. Critical mass, that little critical mass we're talking about here.
So now the sure thing is maybe somebody like Phil can go in and get them lined up on shared purpose. That would be great. But my fear is even if you got them lined up on shared purpose, it wouldn't be any time at all of the two-party system structure And now they're used to fighting. Now they're used to using the government shutdowns as the whack-a-mole thing to hit each other with, and that so one, the structure needs to get them on shared purpose. That's science.
Yeah.
That's just science.
Unless that happens, just spin in your wheels.
Right. And it can't be, well, we Democrats have a shared purpose. No. That's not, no.
Missed the picture.
It's not the shared purpose of the Democrats versus the shared purpose of the Republicans. No. And then they'll give lip service to the other. Now, frick the lip service. They got to get together on shared purpose of what do they have in common. Now, I kidded about Phil, but if you sent Phil in, he'd find out and he'd get them lined up on shared purpose.
Yeah.
He would. And now, why you say, oh my God, he's a miracle worker? No, he'd go in with a prosocial matrix and do 2 loops around the matrix and he'd get them going. It's not, folks, this is not rocket science.
No.
We've taught you the 2 loops around the matrix before. It will work. You'll get them working. We can do it this afternoon. Yeah. We can get them in the same room.
As long as they're, exactly, I was going to say, as long as they're in the room with us.
Right. You go. That's not the problem. The problem is it won't last. Then I go back to the structural problem of like, yeah, you could accidentally get Phil, I, or one of several other dozen other people that know how to do this down there and temporarily get them lined up on shared purpose, which might be nice because they might get the government back open.
People paid.
People pay, it'd be more planes back in the sky. Really cool stuff.
Yeah, get benefits back to people that need all that good kind of stuff. Right.
But you're no more than out the door of Congress and
they're going to hit a TV camera probably would be the
right, and they're going to be right back to the middle school fights, which is what it is now. I hate to break it to them if they're listening to me, but really, you all down there, you look like middle schoolers, pointing fingers at each other and fighting. And somebody needs to come along with a bus. But Skylab, that would be good too, right?
Yeah, Chris, give that a shot.
So I went ahead of simple. So I am giving simple. One, yeah, sure. Whoever these parties are, if me, Phil, I can think of several other people who knows. I mean, there's other ways to do it as well. We happen to have the 2 loops around the matrix that we do. We'd get them lined up. You guys say, oh, you're cocky, Kevin. Nah, just done it. You can do it.
Down the road? Yeah.
Yeah, you can do it. You can get it done. But then in the next breath, I got to tell you, it's not going to last.
Yeah.
Listen, it doesn't last with people who want it to last. I'm serious, folks. People drift off of shared purpose really quick. You got to put in some pretty, significant structure. Then I'll go back to structure. You got to put in significant structure that, like once a week or so, they're reminded to talk about shared purposes. And I go back to, these are some people that are willing to do it. So Congress ain't willing to do it. So you're going to have pass laws so that the parliamentarian or somebody, sergeant at arms or somebody, requires them to do it. And they need more than 2 parties because the 2-party system is automatically going to lead to these I win, you lose fights.
This is the end result, what we're living through right now.
It will happen. We will. So when you see Congress having I win, you lose fights, well, come on, it just happened. So the Democrats had a big blue wave a couple of nights ago. Okay, great for the Democrats, but how is that framed up? Democrats won, Republicans lost.
Yep.
And believe it or not, I bet you the Republicans don't like losing no more than the Democrats like losing. Nobody likes losing. So as long as you got that framed up that way, it's this isn't going to get better. It's
Yeah.
probably going to get worse. And
Oh,
man, and, we had a guy up here in Maine named Jared Golden, conservative Democrat, I would describe him as, from northern Maine. Well, he just quit. He's not going to run again. He's basically saying it's too dangerous. People are getting shot.
mm.
And the animosity in Washington is just too much for him to take. I don't blame him.
No.
There are people getting shot. I mean, politicians getting shot. And the animosity just must be horrible down there. But some of you must have been in middle school or some grade around then when people were at war. Going on. You ever have that happen at your school? Phil used to teach. Not teach, I'm sorry, be a school.
Yeah, I did some teaching too. Same thing. Yeah.
Well, it's no fun.
Oh no.
I mean, for the mean people who just like that kind of stuff. I think even in
the bullies thrived on this.
I mean, there is a minority of bullies that just love it.
They would get the upper hand, and then
right. But the rest of Congress, they probably hate it.
Right.
But you're forced into a two-party system, and you're automatically going to get, I win, you lose.
Yeah.
And so we got to change that structure. Hopefully we will. Hopefully some adults will get in the room and change it. And the science-based is they got to get on shared purpose. It's not my job to tell them what the shared purpose of governing the United States is. I would go ask them.
That would be a useful question.
And that's what we would do, by the way, in the matrix on the second loop. What's your shared purpose?
What are you here to do?
What are you here to do? What is your shared purpose? Somebody would be brave enough to finally say, well, we're supposed to be legislating the government. And oh, by the way, while I will say, they really need to ixnay the government shutdown. that needs to no longer be something, even if you have 6 parties, nobody can get a hold of that and bludgeon other people with it. That was a dumb idea.
Right.
That sort of, according to Wikipedia, sort of matriculated and sort of just happened after in the 1980s. And well, now it's become an evil evil thing. And that's not. And I go back to it's shutting governments that's not an option. No. You can shut factories, you can shut stores, you can fine. Governments, no.
Yep.
The people are still there. The people that need government services are still there.
That doesn't stop, right?
That doesn't stop, right? Nobody has the choice. Oh, gee, I think I'll go to the government next door and get something. No.
You're making me think about incentive too, because what is the incentive for people who are going to get paid whether they show up or not?
Well, there's not.
Right.
No, that's a dumb idea, but it's based on win-lose. It's a bludgeon.
Yep.
They're just bludgeoning each other with it. So no, it's not a way to legislate. No. But back again, there's structural, I guess my point, how to get Congress unstuck. Well, we can do it fast. We'll go down there and run 2 loops around the matrix with a bunch of them. We'll probably get them quite a bit unstuck in one day. Now, they'll come out of that room, go hit their fellow Congress people, and they'll say, what the hell are you up to?
Really?
Straighten up and fly right. And the war will be...
Knock that off.
Right, well, the war will be...
shared purpose stuff off.
Knock that shared purpose stuff off.
Don't want to see any of that around here.
It'll be like the gang members in a movie,
Exactly.
Like,
Well, it would be like the bully in the schoolyard. What are you doing? You're not
what
doing
do you,
that. Knock it off.
right. So structural changes, but one we can go down, and we do know the science of shared purpose. That's a scientific point. The other is to look at other ways to get out of. Well, the only way I know of is go back to what our forefathers said in the first place, and don't have a two-party system. I think it was Jefferson
Yeah, he
that
might have got the ball rolling with that.
he got the ball rolling really on the two-party system,
Yep.
and Madison was against it. And of course, and then I go back to the Hooks diagram here. The two-party system fits better with your childhood
Oh yeah.
memories of going to war with your siblings and stuff, you know.
Yeah. Well, then it fits right in with the status games because somebody's got to be on top and someone's got to be on the bottom, and
And until the adults show up and say, knock this off,
exactly.
stop. That's the answer, Phil. Mom and dad need to show up in Congress
Yeah.
and say, knock this crap off.
What's going on here? Walk into the room. What's going on here?
grab some collars and
Exactly. Yeah. Throw a few objects around the room for effect.
I mean, it's basically it. We got a bunch of people literally acting like angry school kids,
Yep.
literally. And some adult needs to show up and tell them to knock it off. The problem is we got no adults.
Yeah.
It's structurally that ain't going to happen. I'm not saying that won't happen. So
Yeah.
I hope some adults get elected and they do consider this, and somebody learns about shared purpose. That this in the two-party system. Other people, I think it was Bloomberg, the guy out of New York or something.
Oh yeah.
He wrote up a thing on what needed to happen, how to restructure it,
Mm-hmm.
and whether his idea, but it does need to be restructured.
Yeah. We need a new design, right?
You do, you really do. It's a malfunctioning.
Yeah.
The design is malfunctioned.
Exactly.
It's sad to say, folks. It's not going to fix up. There's science tells us it's not going to fix up. It's going to end up in divorce. And boy, I don't know what divorce looks like. Civil War didn't look very good.
Well, they're not pleasant. There's no such thing as a good.
That's one example of divorce. So it doesn't look good. I mean, I'm not trying to be a doom and gloomer or anything, but structure needs to change. So that's how you do it. Get them lined up on shared purpose. Tell your freaking congressman and senators, whatever, get off of this,
Yeah.
win new stuff, and get.
That's what I sent you there for.
Shared purpose. Right. That's the shared purpose. Got to be that. I mean, and then this goes for. I mean, the middle of the roaders. This would be pretty easy. I mean, the middle of the road Democrats, middle of the road Republicans. That's not too hard. But what they're called hardliners. That's the name. They're called hardliners on either side, where they're going to go. No, I got to win. That's why they're called. I guess that's in part why they're called hardliners. They draw that hard line which says, I have to win. My way has to win.
I'm not budging.
And I'm not budging, right?
And then who's going to blink first, right? Then it's a staring contest. Who's going to blink first?
Never ends well, does it?
Nope.
This never ends well. So back to it's based on language. So to recap my little lecture here, really it's language. We all learn language, and this applies to all of us. We learn language early, and first we're emotional beings.
Yep.
Then we learn language, and we attach all kinds of emotions to that. And you don't have any choice on which emotions get attached to which words. unless it's specific emotion words like sad, mad,
Yeah,
glad,
right.
those kind of things. Yeah, but
Right.
there's other ones where they sound like it's an innocuous word, like worm or something. But apparently you had a bad experience with worms or
Oh
whatever,
yeah.
and somebody says worms and it sets you off. And you don't even know it sets you off. That's the other thing. It's not like you say, "Oh my God, that word."
Stumble right into it. Yep.
Right, that word has hooked me, and that's the word we use. Hook. That word has hooked me. You don't know you're hooked, and noticing that hook is devilishly hard. You say, "Well, what do we do?" Structurally make it so the hooks don't do so much damage. That's what you do. And so I think other more mature countries, what do you mean? Oh, the United States is mature. Oh no, it's not. Uh, we are barely adolescents, and that's why we look like this. By the way, I
Yeah.
mean, I know Anders is on from Denmark, old Amster. Amster, we all think we're really hot stuff over here because we have capitalism. They invented it in Amsterdam.
Andrew knows.
Yeah, and they don't do it this way. They learn that you
Oh yeah.
they learn you can't have unfettered capitalism. That doesn't work. Well, what Wall Street is now is unfettered capitalism. It doesn't work. And you say, why? Because it sucks all the money out of the system, not leaving enough money for the rest of the system to operate on. If you think of it as a bloodstream, they're the vampires who've sucked off all the
Yep.
blood.
Get off.
There's not enough currency roaming around the rest of the system to sustain it. You can't do that. You got to figure out how you do that. You tax the hell out of the wealthy. That's how you do it. Yep. Tax them and put the money back in the economy. It's pretty easy, except of course the rich people don't want to go along with that, and they
Yeah.
got the
Yeah.
and then when it comes to democracies and stuff, well, these two-party systems, they're shit. I'm sorry, excuse my French, but they just are. They're bad.
They're not.
They automatically lead to these dumb conflicts. So we need to get off of the two-party system.
The outcomes.
So my point is, elect adults.
Yeah.
Whatever you can. You have to
help the kids play better with each other. How's that sound?
Yeah, there we go. And if we would just get honest with ourselves and realize that, it would be better. What do you think the odds are of Congress being honest with itself? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, crickets.
But I laugh, but something's got to happen.
Yeah.
The point is, it really does. Something's got to happen. It's not going to work this way. Because as soon as we get this solved, okay, we're going to solve this current kerfuffle that we're in, which is, I could use another word other than fuffle. But I won't. So we get out of this. Well, we're just heading.
We're just right around the corner. The other one's just waiting for us.
Yep. Just waiting for the next one to occur. It's because it's structurally set up to happen this way. And it's like, oh, don't worry. Don't worry, Mom. We're going to be nice to each other.
Yeah, really. We'll get along. You'll see.
And as soon as Mom leaves the room,
as soon as she's out of sight,
boom.
Yep. Here we go.
There they go again. And so you have to put guardrails around that playpen, if you like, or you take like with the deficit not the deficit, the shutdown. They need to take that little thing away from them and put it way up on a top shelf.
Right. Take that toy, move it way up there. Exactly.
You go way up on a top shelf, and then you're not allowed to have
that ain't available. No.
No, you cannot play with that toy anymore. It's a bad toy. like, I don't know who brought that toy in the house, but
That
enough
needs a
for that.
recall. That needs a recall.
Like them
Not,
lawn darts
not
or
a safe
something.
toy to play with.
Remember lawn darts?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Few kids died. Few dead kids later.
Gee, what can I do with this?
Yeah, well, it was bad, so
Oh yeah.
they quickly disappeared. Well, that one has disappeared too. It really needs to go away. Yeah, and it's funny. I hadn't realized that. I knew it was more shutdowns had occurred recently, but it's from a ruling like in the 1980s or something
Yep.
that got started.
Yep.
And it's once the bullies got a hold of it, and they could beat up on each other with it.
Just a frequently used tool now.
Oh, it's absolutely frequently used now, getting more frequent. We're still in the middle of it. So there you go, folks. A little bit of my ramblings, but when everybody recognized that you learn words and some very powerful emotions are attached to a lot of words you don't even aware of. So ain't no amount of psychotherapy going to teach you about that.
Nope.
You're not going to get that. So what are you going to do instead? Set up a structure in your life where you can work through that. You use the matrix. Just think,
There you
what,
go.
just do,
Yeah.
do a loop around the matrix. Well, who's important to me? What kind of yucky stuff is showing up? Take a look at yourself. That's it. How does a group do it? What's our shared purpose? What kind of yucky stuff is showing up? At least the stuff we can identify. That's a structure. The diagram you're looking at, that's a structure. We need structure. We humans are crap without structure. It's good. we're like we're like bottle rockets with no stem.
Really?
And sometimes we explode.
Uh-huh.
All
Smash into things.
right, no, we need structure. We need structure. That's one way of doing it. So recognize language has lots of powerful emotions. Go forth and put some structure around you so you can, well, keep them in check.
Yeah.
Keep the adult in the room. Phil likes to call it his homunculus, but
I like my homunculus.
who
Yes.
likes homunculus?
Yeah.
If you guys aren't familiar, that's a little part of the brain where your sensory and motor cortexes come together. And if you map it out, it looks like a little human. It's called a homunculus. So he sees it as sitting on top of his head.
Yep.
Being aware, which is cute, which is fine. It's your adult, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But personally, you can ask my wife. I need to be reminded for my adult to show up lots. So.
Uh-huh.
We all need that. Well, Congress needs it too.
Yeah.
But they got ginormous egos that tell them, no, we don't need that. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. So we'll do that. But everybody listening on this learn how to do 2 loops around the matrix and go show it to everybody you can. Really, it works. It helps people out. It just does. It's not going to solve anything right in the moment, more than likely. But if you get enough people doing it so that it becomes commonplace, we have more chance of the adult showing up.
Yep.
So let's do that. And we'll sign off. But and this is what we usually sign off with. Go do the 2 loops.
That's it.
You'll be glad you did. I'm not kidding. It's like exercising. Week or two or after you've been exercising, you go, wow, that was a good idea to start exercising. I feel better.
I'm feeling different.
Well, if you do the 2 loops around the matrix for a couple of weeks, you'll go, oh, yeah, that's better. I like that. Yeah, that's pretty cool. but you'll never get there unless you do them. So go do them. And that's, I know it's a direct command, but what the hell?
Well, we're giving you the structure, and that's what we use.
And if you do want to, buy a bus ticket and head for Washington and see.
Oh, yeah, take your 2 loops to Washington. Absolutely.
Yeah, show it to Congress if you get a chance. You never know. You just never know. But that's my 2 cents worth. Shared purpose, though. That's the science. Congress isn't operating on shared purpose. So they need to do that.
Obvious.
Let's do that. You know, the more I think of it, the fix isn't that hard. It's that the people who don't want to change, that's the problem.
That's what it comes up against. Yep.
Yeah, it comes up against that because they want things. They like to fight. They want it to stay the same.
Yep.
People, Phil and I know that from working with organizations.
Mm-hmm.
Organizations that give lip service to changing.
Nope.
They don't want to change.
They're committed to maintaining the status quo.
Yeah.
That's their shared purpose of the organization.
I know we sounded a bit jaded, but we are.
Yeah.
You know, because we've been there, done that. Yeah. So it's like, well, why do people not get back on shared purpose? Because they realize that's going to lead to not fighting, and they don't want to have not fighting.
Yeah. Oh no. Something different will happen.
And fear of the unknown sets in, and there we go.
Yeah, and now you're right back.
Yeah. Oh well. What's going on? Let me see. Nothing. We got Thanksgiving exactly 3 weeks away.
Up right around the corner.
Well, maybe they'll have the government open by then.
That's a nice aspirational goal.
That's an aspiration. Okay. We just gotta hope for the best. Bye-bye, everybody.
So I hope for the best.